Welcome to South Pacific Muscle. You may have noticed from the banner, we're about to give you some unsolicited parenting advice. So if that's not what you signed up for, then turn off now. We will relate some of it to bodybuilding, and well, let's face it, we're all meatheads, so there's we're not going to get too far from that. Just welcome the crew. I'll start with the two old hands. Nate, welcome back. What have you been up to?
Yeah, hey, look, before we kick off, man, I just want to, because while we're doing parenting, I want to do a big shout out to Anthony Morris and his lovely wife, Jess, and congratulations on Callum joining the whānau. So, yeah, cute little boy in the family. And look, a couple of other friends in bodybuilding, recently started families and getting into that parenting thing. We're a bit older, so I guess, maybe we can impart a little bit of wisdom, but before I start, I'll give you a quick intro, just so I guess it's credential time, right? So, like as a parent, got 3 adult kids now. So my youngest is 17, my eldest is 32, and I've got a 21-year-old in the middle there. And I have this distinct feeling that Mike invited me along today to show you how not to parent, right? Because but I did agree to come on because I figure I'll probably fucking learn a thing or two. So that's my disclaimer. Look, I'm not very bright. I just lift heavy stuff. Take it for what you will. My parenting approach is really a little bit anecdotal rather than based on studies. I do what works for me, and we've had a couple of wins.
There's plenty of time for that.
Yeah. I just thought I'd throw that out there as a bit of a thing there, and I guess my mantra around growing good humans, right, seems to have worked, because this week I've had some pretty amazing news. So Caprice and Xavier and Janine are all swanning around Europe and having a great time. My eldest daughter came around today, hadn't seen her for a while because she's based in Melbourne. She's given me the good news that she's getting engaged, and we also had a little stepping stone on the way to where the young fella's going, and picked up the win at the World Champs. So got a world champion in the family, which is kind of cool. So I was pretty happy with that. So that's my background. That's what's happening in my world. I'm going to let you guys do a lot of the talking now. So,
well, to be honest, I thought it was a pretty good mix, because both you and Mike are kind of, almost out the other side of it. Aiden and I, although 25 years apart in age, are still right in the thick of it with the young ones. So, different perspectives, different, like I said, it's pretty hard to kind of go, we're not forcing our ideas on anybody. We just say, hey, look, it's not a guarantee that my kids aren't, serial killers yet, so I may or may not have fucked them up completely, but so far some things seem to be working. And I guess I have had 23 years as a high school teacher to kind of pick up a few bits and pieces along that as well. So yeah, congrats to Xavier this week on picking up the gold. I know he's worked really hard for it, and there's a little bit around the parenting side of things that we can talk about there with respect to kind of picking up good attitudes and values from around training and discipline and that sort of thing from his role models.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Kingsmore. So I might just play this, Mike, since it's all
out of Auckland, and this is going to be one of the best days of my life. And I mean that because we're going to go and visit my boy, and he is the new store manager of this place. Couldn't be prouder. Hey everyone, here we are in the heart of Auckland.
So I'll flick across, because obviously on your page too, Mike, it's very family orientated, every second picture there. I have got those pictures that you sent me too.
So my favorite bit was watching you do some squats with your son, because that's really cool. I saw a guy probably 35, 36 with a 10, 11-year-old kid, and he was teaching him how to squat and showing him squat form. And I'm like, fuck, this is a good skill, man. It teaches a whole bunch of things other than just squatting, right?
And that's the son in those 2 pictures that's squatting with me today. He's a little bit bigger. He's actually taller than I am now. So it's actually really weird being the shortest male in the family. It's not a comfortable time. But I'm not sure it's a good thing teaching him to squat, because he's 14, he's on the leg extension, and I'm looking at his quads, and I'm going, my old saying is, I killed myself for 30 years to get legs I wasn't ashamed of, and he's developing these great quads, and I'm looking going, that's my 30 years worth of work. You've got the gift. It's like, I'm so jealous, to be honest. So, yeah.
I've got exactly the same thing going on. Like, you know, with a 17-year-old, he's quicker than me. He's more explosive than me. He can roll me in 30 seconds, and whether we're stand up or we're grappling. I've only got 1 RM strength and a couple of exercises left, and just watching the progression. But the good thing is that, you know, they've learned a lot of lessons that we had to learn by ourselves, because we hadn't been exposed to that culture.
Yeah. Oh,
and the work ethic
man,
that goes with it.
I was shaking my head. Could you imagine, like, for my son, back when we started, for your training partner to be, you know, oh, fairness, an IFBB pro, multiple national bodybuilding champions? Like, we didn't have any of that. We read magazine articles where they were ghost ridden and crap, and, you know, you had to wait 5 months to see something come out from overseas. There was no science behind any of it. It was all just BS. And if we wanted to learn
12, or 4 sets of 12.
Oh, it was just crap, you know. So, man, how lucky. It's like, you know,
Well,
I'm quite jealous, to be honest.
I guess the other perspective you've got, Mike, is that, you know, you've had a family right the way through the bulk of your bodybuilding career.
Yeah.
And, you know, so there's a lot of, I guess, sacrifices and collateral damage and things made by, you know, the family and yourself and so on to kind of manage that process. So that'll be quite interesting to talk about down the track as well. So I'll quickly flip across to a couple of things I pulled up. So I posted this a wee while ago. That's my other life. There's my son, the tall one at the back, the tall, goofy white guy at the back. I was really proud of this. I've got 9 girls in the squad of 20, and we haven't lost a game for 3 years. So
that's almost laughable. We haven't lost in 3 years.
Wow. Yeah, so just like I've had these guys for 5 or 6 years, and just the opportunity to kind of shape them, as you say, into good human beings, teach them values around both sport and life. You know, it's been quite cool. And then you know, my beautiful wife, of course, who's, you know, irritatingly successful at bodybuilding, way better than me. So perhaps in some instances I'm living vicariously through her, but she sort of, you know, she likes to post lots of stuff with the kids and so on. So there's them with her, or our medals and her winners check from Tournament Champions. Righto, so let's get over to Aiden. We'll do a quick thing on the old. So here's his Instagram. If you don't follow Aiden, get in and follow him. He is a young man on the rise. He lifts heavy. He's got a wicked physique. He's growing fast. I'd say it's within 2 years he'll be an IFBB pro. So
thank you.
Welcome on, Aiden.
No, cheers for having me, guys. Yeah, pleasure to be on. I think it's my second time on now, but it's always a good time to have a yarn with you guys, and always watching the show. So it's very cool to be part of it.
Nice.
And so there's Aiden and his partner, who's just telling me before, is a multiple pro in ICN and what was the other federation?
IMBA.
So I guess, yeah, look, what spurred this kind of conversation, or this podcast, was I went round to see Darren Dingle, who coached me for Tournament Champions the day after the competition. And Aiden was there, and we'd never met before, but we've kind of, you know, follow on Facebook and bits and pieces. So I was like, oh, g'day, how's it going? We got yakking, and we got chatting about, you know, the troubles in Hastings and the youth and the, you know, all sorts of things. And then we kind of moved on to parenting, and it was like, he starts talking about routines and structures, and I'm kind of going, man, you're speaking my language, right? And then, like, I said, oh, how old are you? And he said 27. I was picking him early 30s. He's got 3 kids at 27, right? And so he said, look, I couldn't do what I do without that structure and without that routine, without creating those things. So it just sort of made me think that, you know, we've all kind of found a different way of doing things, or, you know, but there'll be some common themes that allow us to be successful and allow us to structure our lives to do the things we want to do. And there are some sort of collateral damage I found with my competing, but there's also some value to that too. So I thought we'd just sort of flip through and have a little bit of a chat about, as Nate was sort of getting on to, some of the tips and tricks that we kind of use to, I guess, optimize our opportunities for creating good humans, or, you know, balance out our lives to allow us to stay stress free and kind of raise good human beings that way. So Anybody want to jump in with their top tip?
I'll open up because I just want to, like, I've got a sort of a mantra that it's sort of like, I guess, parent by, and it's probably quite different to other people's, but I always had an attitude of fuck what other people do what works for you. And when you find what's working, as in bodybuilding, don't fucking change it, right? So that was kind of my approach until teenage years kind of threw some of that upside down, and you had to operate differently. But my whole mantra really was, parenting is about growing good humans, right? And being there to support and role model the things that you'd like to see, values in your kids, and some of the values that I have, my kids haven't picked up, but they've at least been exposed to them and been able to analyze them and go, oh, well, works for dad, but fuck, dad rolls like that, right? So, I'll pick up something that I might have seen from my mother, perhaps, so, but I guess it's about being available. And when you take on things like bodybuilding, when you take on things like careers, when you take on new businesses, all those opportunities that come as you get older and as you're growing and you're learning more and having these opportunities put in front of you, it takes away your ability to be there as a parent 100% of the time. Now, people beat themselves up about that and, oh, I'm a bad parent, and fuck that, out the window with that shit. My view is that you be the best parent you can when you can, and that will vary over time. And there's different roles with, I have, a family that, the kids live with their mum, the kids live with me, they come and go as they please, and we work very fluidly. And even in our environment we have a lot of communication, just say, fuck, I'm tapped at the moment, I'm really stressed with work, or I'm on zero carbs, or whatever it might be, and the other person sort of ramps up. So I've got the opposite, whereas Aiden, has prepped with a partner, so you've both got to be routine. I've had that ability to sort of flex up and down and step up when needed, and often this is a dad job today, so Nate, can I just get you to have a word to the kids about this? Sure, and we vice versa. So you do what you can when you can, and the critical thing in that, I think, is being in the best state, or the best mental health for yourself, so you can afford to give so much to others, being your children and giving the time you need. That's kind of my take on it.
Sorry, I want to jump in with an overarching thing that might be good for Ants or all those new parents. I've done a lot of parent-teacher interviews, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. There's a very, very small percentage of really fucked up kids. I mean, it's really small. And when you meet the parents, they are either enormously ignorant, like really, really next level stupid, or they don't give a shit, or a combination of both.
Mike,
to me is what that
Jim Jeffries nails that one. He said, look, if you're a dumb and you breed with a dumb cunt, you probably, look, I don't need to fill out the whole picture in, but you understand where I'm coming from. And parenting's the same. If you're both role modeling shit behavior, chances are you're not going to have a great outcome for your kids. So I think you're right, but the bar's pretty low, as you're sort of saying. You're like,
so my point is, for new parents or people getting in, starting out, have confidence that unless you're enormously stupid, which most of us aren't, just try your best. It'll be okay. It'll be good enough. Don't beat yourself up. You're not going to get everything right. You're not going to be perfect, but just don't be a really dumb cunt and try your best, and you'll be fine. Right now, the rest is optimizing and window dressing and bits and pieces like that. But have confidence that just try your best, it'll be good enough, right? And it usually is. I mean, it has been for you guys, so it appears. One of the interesting things I was talking to Aiden about last week is routine. So do you want to sort of run us through some of the routines that you have with your kids and your family, because it's really similar to what I do around sort of meals and sleep and things like that allow you to kind of do what you do?
Yeah, I think like for us, because we're so scheduled with our routines, you have to get the kids on the same routine as well. Like you have to make sure their routine's just as good as yours. So one, I think like they thrive from that, and like especially because my kids are young, so like 5, 6, and 7. So for them having that routine and knowing what's coming up, that helps them a lot and makes them feel comfortable. But for us to get our meals prepped and to do all the things we need to do, one of the big things we've always been real big on is, just like us, the kids wake up at the same time each day and go to bed at the same time each day. Because we know if we don't have all the kids in bed at 7 o'clock, it just pushes back like making the meals and doing all the night jobs. So like all those jobs you want to get done once they're in bed and after you've read the stories and done all that kind of thing. It just makes it so important. Like we're super strict. Like if we're out with friends or we're doing something, we like make sure we're home on time to put them in bed at 7 o'clock, so we know that we can get our meals done. And it's more just to have like that adult time, because if we get the kids in bed at 7 o'clock, we can get all our meals done, get the house tidied up, dishes done, and everything. And we kind of have that 8 to 8:30 or 8 to 9, just that like half an hour, just like us time to hang out together or watch a show on TV or just do something we wanted to get done. So I think just for like sanity, that's like a massive thing, is to make sure you still, when you're as busy as us, if you want to have downtime, you kind of have to schedule it. Like you can't just take it as it comes, because it will never come. So it's just making sure that you take that time to relax and spend some time together. So getting the kids in the same routine, that just has helped heaps. And it's just, I can't remember a time where it kind of wasn't like that. Now it's been like that for a couple of years now, so it works really well.
And there's that old cliche that you live, as a couple, you live through your kids and you're managing the kids, and it's like just a list of jobs to do, and you're driving here, driving there, and then the kids leave home, and you're like, who are you? What? I don't know you anymore. So, a little bit of scheduling that quality time and just sort of making sure you sort of investing a little bit into that relationship as you go through, and that you still like that person and know that person, because you're going to grow and change quite a bit over the next 10 or 15 years before they leave home. So you'll be different people. You just got to be the different people that still are in love with each other, ideally.
Yeah, for sure. So we make sure that we every couple of weeks or few weeks, we try and have like one night where we go out for dinner or something. And just like another thing, like having those kids in that routine, if your schedule changes with work or something, you kind of have everything else scheduled so well that you can kind of plan around little mishaps and stuff like that. So like one thing I do in the morning and is like my cardio and abs, I get up and go and do that in the shed before anyone else in the house wakes up, so it's just done and out of the way. And just little bits and pieces you do like that, just every little part like that helps.
Yeah, I like what you put out there, Aiden, because there's 24 hours in a day, and this is bodybuilding. We do it for us, and I love it. And I remember back, 98, I did some shows. I stunk it up. I didn't do any good. But my mother said to me, so you're gonna stop this now? You've got a kid, you've got a family. And I said no. She said, but more important things. And I said, what message am I giving my kids, or my kid at the time, if I give up on what was my dream? I said, I'm not going to stop doing what I love for a child, because then they're going to see that, and that's the message they're going to get. But we just got to find a way. I've had and been doing comps and training when I've been a single father, and when I've been with my wife and such, and and then there's been times where my wife's had a job where it's been conducive to supporting it, and times where at the end of the day, I've got to compromise like yourself. It's getting up at some obscene hour or training at some odd hour. Then that's on us. And if you're motivated, you can have a great workout in the middle of the night, or you can have one at middle of the day. So I did a shift work job at one point where I was 3 days on mornings, 3 days on of afternoons, and then 3 days off. And so those 3 days off, I didn't train, because I was really looking after the boy at the time full time, while my then partner, different mum, was working. And then it was 6 days on of training, or however it meant to be. And I'd go to that time I was going to Les Mills, and I might drop him in into daycare. And I learned, I had an hour in there while he was in the crash. And so that was where I came up with 1 minute rest intervals, because I just had to adapt. Ultimately, it's on us to adapt, not for them.
Big question here for everyone in the room. How many days, weeks, months have your children spent in a creche at the gym, or on their iPads in the gym on the couch?
Yeah, plenty enough with my with my oldest son back when I was single and raising him. But an hour, 4 days a week. How much television do they watch these days? How much television do we watch? How much television did we watch as kids? An hour, 4 days a week, for me to be a fit, happy, healthy. And how good is it for our mental well-being to train? And
I had a 6-year-old Mike that used to jump the creche fence and come out and go, "Can I have a go? Can I have a go?" And the gym manager would run out and say, "Kids aren't allowed in the gym." I'm like, "Oh, we'll just give him a sit on the bench." And we'd give him a sit on the bench, and then luckily I trained at the Magpies rugby gym, and I'd go in there. They'd be done with their training, so my kids would just run around and do exercises with me. Wow. So it was a lot of fun. You don't usually get that in the gyms, but I think they grew up seeing that kind of thing, and it's
Yeah.
not the gym thing. Take the whole gym thing away. It's showing that, you know, you've got stickability, you've got determination, that
Sacrifice for your goals.
showing up when you don't want to show up, and it's just role modeling good behaviors. And there's so many positives in bodybuilding and wider sports that are parallel to just lessons in life. And I think that's probably the big thing, that, you know, exposing your kids to your passion, your dream, you're chasing your goals and your successes, and then letting them go out and start trying to have some of those successes themselves, and showing that, you know, when they work hard, that. And I think, I mean, that's been the big message with you know, with Xavier's success, was simply he outworked everyone. Because he saw his mum prep she won a figure show back in the early 90s, late 90s, early 90s. And, you know, he'd seen me training in powerlifting, strongman. He'd been to every competition and event, and he'd seen that in you know, step parents. And, you know, so for him, it was clear, you work hard, you get rewarded. So
that brings me back to, I guess, one of the other overarching things is, like, kids learn by copying. I mean, when they're little babies, they're copying your facial expressions, they're copying the sounds, they're copying it. Well, that doesn't stop. And so as a parent, you kind of have to take a little bit of a look in the mirror and go, am I the kind of person that I want my child to be? And if you're not, then you kind of need to change something, you know, because it doesn't matter too much what you say. It's what you do that counts, because they see. So therefore, you know, people trying to tell their kids what to do when they're living differently is just not going to work. So, you know, take it, you know, if you are a parent, you know, young parent, whatever, take a good look in the mirror, make sure you're modeling those good behaviors. And as you say, that work ethic, that sacrificing for your goals, that stickability, you know, that just, you know, you can't tell kids that. They have to see it. They have to pick it up. They have to own it. So, and Aiden, we've touched on screens here for a bit. I know the conversation we had last week around screens and dinner time and bits and pieces, and how you were saying that friends of yours are shocked. They'll come around and your kids are just sitting there quietly eating their dinner and so on. And they were quite surprised by the fact that your kids will just sit there and eat their dinner. But, you know, you've got structure and routine around that too, haven't you?
Yeah, so I'm kind of, I guess it's just, I'm pretty old school like that. Like, both me and my partner grew up kind of where you ate dinner at the table. If you didn't finish your tea, like, you went to bed, or it was the next meal waiting for you. Like, so I kind of just did that with our kids, you know. Like, I'm real big on, like, it's not that hard to sit the kids at the table for half an hour to make sure there's no screens on and just all have dinner together. And I think it's real good practice, especially for them at their age, like 5, 6, and 7. If we ever want to go to a cafe or go to a restaurant, they know how to sit at a table and have a meal and, like, behave for half an hour. So it just takes that stress away. So if you are uptown and you want to go into a coffee shop and get the kids like a hot chocolate and a biscuit, you can relax and it's enjoyable because they know how to, like, behave at a table, and it's not like you're trying to chase them around the cafe and stuff. So
and it's consistently implementing that. It's not being hard on it once every now and again. It's making sure that that's the standard every time. And you only have to do that for, I don't know, half a dozen times, and it becomes the norm. And me and my youngest used to go on, like, coffee dates every Friday, pick him up from school, we'd go find a different coffee shop, and it was wonderful. He enjoys just sitting back, chilling, and having, you know, a fluffy or whatever it might have been. So,
yeah, for sure. I think, and we make sure when our kids have tea, like, they pretty much, to be fair, eat exactly what we do. They'll have rice, veggies, and meat. The only difference is, like, one night we might make them fish fingers or something, and they'll have fish fingers and rice and veggies and that kind of thing. And the probably only difference is every second or third night they might have a little bowl of ice cream after, where we don't. But it's just that's another thing we found easy too. If you get them to eat kind of whole foods and healthy foods like you do, because I see, like, lots of parents that have got mates that will make, like, separate meals for their kids, that they'll make their dinner and make the kids something different. And I just feel like that's just, like, such a hassle. And if you get the kids eating what you eat and, like, nice healthy food, like, there's nights when we're under the pump, we've got chicken and rice prepped up in the fridge, so it's real easy to whip them up a quick dinner, sit down at the table, and it takes no time at all.
Yeah. Unless it's prep time, you're not forcing them to have your prep meals and plain chicken breast and plain rice, you know.
No, they got the aioli and the tomato sauce out there, good to go.
It's a little bit of the conversation we had last week about doing those hard yards early, because that doesn't happen by accident. You train your kids to sit at the table, you train them to eat what's on their plate, you train them in that way, And sometimes I felt like Delane and I made it harder than it had to be early, but then we reap the rewards because our kids will, do as they're told, and they don't go, hunting around looking for sugar. They'll just, they'll ask it before they have, go
we picked up the similar, Mike, but our reasons were probably a little bit different. We were both incredibly selfish people, and there was no way that we wanted this new creature in our lives to destroy our sleep patterns and all those things. So, it was the first night, baby in the room. Day 2, baby's at the far end of the house. You can cry or whatever, but at 6 o'clock you can get up in the morning. And within a week, we had a kid that slept through the night every night for the rest of our lives, and I see people battling with that, and I'm like, you can't start early enough. Like, once you've got that thing in the delivery room, your training's on, man, and your future depends on it as a parent. So I think getting those structures in early is really important, but it's never too late to start doing those things if you haven't.
I have parents come in and the kids are running wild at 14, 15. They're going, oh, I've got to get this kid under control. I'm going to do that. Boat sailed about 10 years ago. That was the time to crack down hard on them. Now you're just going to drive them away by doing that if you haven't built that relationship and that that respect early on. So don't leave it too late. Don't
and
try
stick
and
with
make
it.
teenagers to get them under control.
Stick with it. I mean, if we can do a 10, 12, 14-week prep, which is a hell of a lot harder than making sure your kid gets up or goes to bed at a certain time or whatever. And I'm no angel, believe me. Charlie's kicked my ass a few times to make sure I was a little bit harder on my son, but I'm my oldest son. But we had some issues a few years ago. He'd been living with his mum, and just things weren't coming right, and he came and lived with us. And the rule was there's some rules in place. It's about bed at a certain time, phones off, just got to do some exercise. For him, it was walking around the neighborhood doing Pokemon Go or something, but just getting out. And you've got to go look for a job and things like that. And he got a job, and now it's he's stuck with the same company for a few years, and now he's got a great job. But it's even at 19, when things were going off the rails for him because of some external factors, we were still able to put some rules in place, and it's been a success.
That's a great call, Mike, because as much as it sounds counterintuitive, kids want boundaries. They want to know where they stand. They want structure around them. They may say they don't. They might rebel against those
he didn't when we first run them past him.
Yeah,
but
if they know where they stand,
a few years later, he'll admit that they were a win.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to put those boundaries in place for kids, and don't be afraid to be consistent. Don't threaten something unless you're prepared to go through with it. Follow through with it. If you as soon as so I made myself a few notes earlier on. I'll come back to those just for you to make sure I haven't missed anything. But one of the things I put in there is if you're not training them, then they're training you.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mike, it's that old thing too, is if you don't set the bar, they'll set the bar for you, and it'll probably be lower than you were hoping for. So I think that stuff's all really important stuff. The other thing though I like to throw in the mix, because no one's really touched on it, is one of my key things that I wanted for my children was that they showed resilience, and I wanted them to be capable, right? Because I've got this thing about being capable. I don't want to be that fucking useless bodybuilder. So I'm out doing building and fucking garden maintenance and fucking climbing up in the roof space and all those kind of things like that. And my middle daughter said to me once, Dad, when we stay at your house, it's like being on Survivor Island. And I'm like, 100%, man. Like, sink or swim around here, girl. And bit of an exaggeration, but look, I make them cook and they make them clean up after themselves, and they're like little mini adults. And now they are adults. They've got a bunch of those skills. They can go away and they can go and they can cook a stir fry. They can do all those sort of things. So I think building capability in your kids, and sometimes it's about the jobs that you would usually do. Just get your kids involved with it and get them.
They love it.
They love it.
They love cooking.
Look. Here's my point: is I was out doing the edges on my lawns today, out on the sidewalk, right? And they hadn't been done for probably fucking 20 years, like they hadn't been done. They were half a foot out onto the pavement, and I got it done, and I went, that's something I used to do with my dad. My dad would be proud of me, you know. And I was like, hey, some people don't know how to do that because they've never been shown. So, like, when you've got an opportunity for learning, you know, don't hog it to yourself. You've done it a million times. Let your kids jump in.
Well, it's also, you know, like if your kids want out with the vacuuming, yeah, it's going to take twice as long. Yeah, they're going to do a shit job of it.
Yeah.
You can't wait until they're good enough to be good at it to let them do it and then expect them to want to do it. You know, if they want to do it, get them off. Just go, oh, yeah, right, this is going to take forever. I feel the same way, Nate. You know, I want to make my kids as independent as possible, as quick as possible. You know, the more they can do for themselves, the less I have to do for them. It's sort of the opposite, I guess, of that attachment parenting thing. My sister's an attachment parent, and I think that fulfills more of a need in her than it does in the kids. You know, she wants to feel needed rather than the kids actually needing her. So her kids aren't, well, her youngest is not very capable. So, you know, every time we go up there on a holiday, it's like, oh, here we go again. But I just want to make my kids as capable as possible, as quickly as possible, so that I could get away with doing less, I suppose. Maybe it's the laziness in there.
I think cooking's a good one. Cooking, because they enjoy cooking. They're likely to cook something that they want to eat. They're more likely to eat it if they've cooked it. My boy is youngest one, 14, an astounding baker. But boys, you're going to hate this. Every Sunday morning, I get breakfast in bed, and it's a pancake followed by scrambled eggs, beautiful gourmet scrambled eggs, toast, cup of tea, bacon, and he loves it. And I'm not upset about it either.
So, you know, like there's a lot of things in your kids that you just can't control. You know, some that are sort of genetically, you know, pre-written. Well, I used to think that was mostly about the kind of environment, but having had kids and they've all got, some of them just come out different, you know, but there are some things that you can optimize. You can give your kids good self-esteem. You can teach them some skills. You can teach them to interact with older, younger people in a respectful manner. You know, there's things that you can teach them that will help them get on in life. And I think you kind of owe it to your kids to teach them those things. The things that are outside your control, you know, how big they are, how good looking they are, those sorts of things that would be nice, you know, but you can't control those things. The things you can control, you probably owe it to them to try and optimize. So that's always been my philosophy, just try and give them high self-esteem, try and, you know, teach them some skills. I mean, sporty kids generally, you know, integrate pretty well and get on well. So I was out there chucking a ball around with the kids when they're younger and teaching them how to hit a ball and, you know, just things like that. So they feel more comfortable and competent in those environments. Not that it's all about sport, but certainly that's a good vehicle for kind of getting them socially engaged and that sort of thing.
And I think too, Mike, one of the things,
play.
Yeah, but one of those things I think, Mike, you talk about sport is as parents, like the four of us here are very driven with our sports, but our kids may not necessarily follow that path. And like one of the things I've learned is that you can give people, you know, give your children like skills and experiences and all those things, but they'll choose where they take those skills and experiences and what they take off in, and it's often something that's completely different to what we do. And I guess, you know, you look at Mike, who's a bodybuilder, you never would have guessed that he was a very successful florist. And myself, I'm pretty rugged at the best of times, but I was a really expert sewer when I was a young man. So I was in sewing specials. So, you know, we all take off in different ways. And I think it's important that you give your kids enough breadth of experience that they can pick the things that really suit them and that they've really got a passion for. So, you know, although we all live vicariously through our kids, you know, like I definitely didn't choose the path any of my kids sort of took. And it's very rewarding watching them take their own paths and become their own little humans, you know. So
my mantra on that one is not only do I not push them in any one direction, other than I do encourage, hey, do something physical, do a sport, an activity, just purely for the health. And I make it clear, I don't want you to go to the gym if you don't want to go to the gym, but do something. It might be go for a run, do judo, do whatever, but it's about just get out there, move around, have some fun, but make sure they know that whatever they choose to do, you're going to be supporting them 100%, you know, behind that, you know, with whatever they do. It's, you know, somebody made the mistake, you know, once when I was arguing for a better support from the football club for my elder son for Connor's team, and they said, "Oh, you can't just try and live your sporting success through your kids, this, that, and the other." And I had to laugh and give them a quiet correction on that one, and and said, "No, I just know what these kids need, and and I want to be the voice that helps them achieve the goal of playing well, having fun, being competitive. That you don't care if they lose, but you don't want them to get smashed week after week, And I ended up coaching football for a couple of years, coaching basketball for a couple of seasons, just because somebody had to step in, and I didn't know shit about both of them, to be honest. So, even though I played, I didn't know much, but it was about being there and letting them know that whatever they want to choose to do, and I'm 100% behind it. A classic he's not on, obviously, at the moment, Shane Hunter, amazing dad. When you see he's got one boy who played rugby, now wants to do motocross. He's got his daughters who are into Irish dance and whatnot. So, but he's there 100% while also running a successful business and being a competitive bodybuilder. So can be done.
So another overarching theme thing that I thought I'd throw in there too, just a statement for you guys to comment on. If you give kids a good physical, a strong, safe physical and emotional base, they're more likely to be able to go and risk things, try things, and not feel like failure dictates them, or that particular failure defines them. So I want to make sure that my kids, feel like they can always come back and feel like they're always loved, and no matter what. So they'll go out and have a crack at some things, and win or lose, succeed or fail, it doesn't define them as a person. Because life is about having a crack at some things and taking some risks, and you're not always going to be successful. The people who are risk averse generally don't try too much. So I kind of want to make my kids, secure enough to kind of be able to go and take a few risks.
Yeah, look, I spoke to Xavier about that a while back. He had a fight, his second fight, and he was highly, looked upon at that point, and he got really sick and didn't tell anyone, but he was sick for a couple of weeks. Then we had to drop him down to a really, really low weight really quickly, and he came out and fought, and they got through the rounds and all the rest of it, and he lost on a points decision, and I could tell he was fucking gutted. And so I spoke to him and I said, look, you will learn more from this loss than you will learn from any victory you ever have. And it was really interesting. Big Dave. So Dave Neathy came through and talked to Zave about the same sort of thing, and Zave said he fronted the conversation, and it's okay to lose, right? The biggest steps that probably we will ever make, most of us that are at the tail end of our career, and perhaps Aiden going through, will be not when you go in and walk the competition and win by a country mile, but when you come in and you just lost, and there was something that you could have done, or something that you did, but you shouldn't have, and you do the reflection and you learn the lesson. And there's that great saying that's you only lose if you lose the lesson. So I think it's about making an environment where it's okay for kids to try shit. It's okay for them to get it wrong. But hey, let's get back on the fucking horse and let's go.
Yeah, I've always had a fear with my boys, because they know my successes, and they're pretty big and long and storied, and so I've had to make sure that they know the story of the failures. Like, I was the worst basketball player at school. It took me 2 years to learn to turn a surfboard when I tried surfing. While I may have been cleaning up, in the novices, when I went to open, I came dead last with perfect score, dead last, four comps in a row. I make sure they know Daddy didn't win everything, because I really want them to have that pressure of, off them, that they're not afraid to try something, because they may not be good like Dad was. And Dad was a schmuck at a lot of stuff, So, I can't play cricket. I literally got bowled out by a 7-year-old when I was a grown man. So I tell them those stories.
Nice.
Righto. I might flip across and just share screen and see if there's anything I've kind of left out here, and then we can give our last top tips and maybe wrap from there. So kids are a mirror. They start out our lives by learning, by copying, never really stop. I did cover that. Control the things you can control. It's within your power to give them good self-esteem, manners, physical skills, ability to stand up for themselves respectfully. You owe it to their future to try and optimize these. Again, covered that, I think. Let them know they're loved unconditionally. You don't have to like them all the time, but they know you love them. Don't try to be their friend or make them like you. As above, they'll love you, just not like you all the time. If you're not training them, they're training you. Always follow through on your threats. If you're not prepared to follow through, don't use it as a threat. They have to try what's on their plate. If they don't like it, there isn't anything else. If they're really being unreasonable, then it gets dished up for breakfast. We went over that too. Kids go to bed at particular times. Special occasions happen, but most of them are in bed asleep at the appointed time. Then it's adult time. Good for your sanity. No computers or screens in their rooms.
Right. I'm gonna jump in there for a minute, Mike. I saw that you got to follow through on threats. Mental note, Nate. Please don't say to Xavier, I'm going to kick your ass if you don't do that, because that ain't going to happen. He's going to see right through that one. No, but seriously, I just wanted to add one thing is that, we have all these rules and things and they work really well. They've worked well for us, They might not work for you, but, worth a shot. But when it comes to teenagers, you're going to kind of get a lot of that stuff thrown on its head in the teenage years. If you can think about it, if you're a bodybuilder, think about that prep that went fucking sideways, right? The hormones are all out of whack. There's a whole lot of new stuff going on, and you're trying to work out who the fuck you are while having parental expectations. So as a parent, you have to be a lot more adaptable and a lot more flexible in your approach, and you've got to pick your battles. I'm not going to speak too much on that because teenagers are a whole bunch of, that's a conversation in itself, Mike. But one of the things I guess I learned going through those teenage years is don't beat yourself up when you don't get it right, because you're not going to get it right all the time. Like anything in life, just do the best you can do, and chalk up those wins and remember them, because you're going to have a few losses on the way as a parent. But I think if your heart's in the right place, you're going to get most of it right. So
can I just jump in as well? As you said, with the teenage thing, they're at school for 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. They're getting influenced, quite heavily influenced, by people that you have no control over either. So it's a bit like a bad prep gone even worse. There's a little you can do, and while you've got that amazing list there, Mike, I'll put my hand up and say there's more than a few things on there that I got wrong. But like you said earlier on, if you get most of it right most of the time, you've got to be a complete numpty to really ruin your kids, and they're probably going to turn out all right. And in some cases, it might take a little bit longer than others. But at the end of the day, I think about the way I was as a young man. God, how my mother put up with that. But, the wins come in the end as long as you get most of them right most of the time. Don't beat yourself up if you let one slide now and again.
On the teenage thing, mine, I'm just going into that now, going into 12, so I'm really looking forward to that. But what I have seen from a teaching perspective is that parents generally try and create, or good parents will create a good relationship with their kids. They'll, try and instill good values and all that sort of stuff. And then just all that goes out the window at about sort of year 9, year 10 at school. And for about 2 years, they're just, most of them, or 90% of them, are just ignorant, grunting, kind of like they're just different. Well, they're just a totally different person for 2-3 years, and then they kind of come out the side and actually turn back into good human beings, and actually that relationship you had before will come back. It's not completely lost, and I guess you're just kind of crossing your fingers and hoping that there's no pregnancy or drug overdoses or car crash or whatever in there. But the better job you've done, the less chance there is of that happening. But it's not always a given, because the pre-front.
And if there is, you just keep on trucking. Nothing changes, right?
Well,
control what you can control.
If the shit ever hits the fan, come to dad. I might be upset or whatever, but look, I'll sort you out. Come to me.
You got to make sure they know that you're always on their side.
Yeah.
I have a saying for the kids. I'm like, look, guys, whenever it goes all bad, ring me. I'll bring the fucking tarps and the fucking shovels, man, and we'll fucking dig holes. We'll dig holes, right? No, so I think that if they know you've got their back, you've won half the battle. So it's just you can't highlight how important creating that relationship is, and that relationship starts when they're going and going.
Yeah. You got any top tips for us, Aiden, before we kind of sign off?
I think just 2 things from me. One thing we always try and do with the kids is, we're reasonable make them do things they don't want to do. I think there's like a real good mental skill, like for all of us, like there's cardio, like in our world of bodybuilding, like cardio and the squats and the hard workouts and stuff. But it's just having that mental switch when you don't want to do something to still do it. I think it's good to get the kids used to that as well. Like there's heaps of things you don't want to do, but like part of life is having to do those things. Like you're going to have to, like, you know, when you're older, work, and there's going to be jobs at work you don't want to do. But it's just being able to create that switch where you just turn it in a second and you just get to work. So whenever we kind of say they're hesitant to do something, where they've been unreasonable or like it's been silly, we make sure we follow through, we make them do it. But it's like, you know, sometimes you don't want to do things, but we have to do it. So it's just teaching them that. And then one thing that we've done probably this last 6 months, which has been real cool, especially at their age at 6, 7, and 8 now, is every Saturday we've changed our schedule around. So me and my partner both have rest day on Saturday now. So on Saturday morning, we wake up and do our cardio and bits and pieces before the kids wake up. And then on the Friday night, we prep all our meals for the day the night before. So there's nothing to do. And Saturday now is just strictly the whole day, family day. So like the kids wake up and like the kids look forward to it. They know that Saturday is like Saturday fun day. So they wake up and they decide what we're doing for the day. If they want to go to the beach, they want to go to the park, the trampoline park, or it's just a day that we completely dedicate to the kids, and there's no bodybuilding, there's no work, there's no nothing. And it's just that one day a week where it's just, what do you guys want to do today? And like, they look forward to it, they love it, and it's like awesome for us. That's one thing we found was really good, just that one family day a week.
It's something I noticed, Mike, that you do as well. You often give the kids choices, and you know, I think you used to have did you have like a time for bed, but they could stay up for a little bit longer.
Me, Mike?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the kids have a turn each Friday night in rotation, and that one of the kids gets to choose what takeaways we have on Friday night, and gets to stay up half an hour later and just hang out with mum and dad, and we'll play cards or we'll do some baking or something. So they just get a bit of quality time with just us and not the other one. So with 3 of them, they're sort of always fighting for our attention, but that's, you know, their time to kind of have us to themselves.
But that's real early decision making skills, right? And you know, you've got to start little. And I guess a lot of people have trouble with being decisive and making decisions and things like that. It's a learned behavior, you know, and you've kind of built that in there. So I quite like that. I saw that firsthand when I was down in Dunedin one time. So well played, chap.
Well, yeah, like, as I say, there's no guarantees yet. We haven't worked out whether he's going to be a serial killer or not. It could be. We could be playing this back in a few years, going, you had no idea what was going to happen, did you?
Yeah. See that coming.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. Well, is it me signing off? We will sign off. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. I hope you got something out of this. Yeah. Till next time.
Take care, people. Stay safe.